Is there too much hype around Michigan true freshman quarterback Bryce Underwood? The answer is a little bit more complex, but to put it simply, yeah, probably too much hype, but we'll unpack it together. First things first, make sure you are subscribed right here to the On3 YouTube channel. College football sickos, it's our time now. We're watching condensed games on YouTube. We're getting our preview magazines. We're dialing into the schedule a little bit more. Everything that you know and love about this sport happens here, happens every single day. Michigan fans, if you want more Wolverine content, let us know by subscribing. Appreciate y'all for that. Okay, so what I was just saying. Yeah, probably too much hype around Bryce Underwood. And it sounds like a slight. I promise you it's not. He's going to be really good eventually. When is he really good? Is it this year? It could be, but I think the thought that this guy is going to be the savior of Michigan football tomorrow and lead you to the national championship and he's going to win the Heisman Trophy, be first-team All-American, those things all may eventually happen in Ann Arbor. But here's my thing. Can we just let it bake for a second? Can we give it a little bit of runway? Can we let him start a couple of games before we say, Bryce Underwood, you're the reason why Michigan football is going to go win the national title in 2025? Now, I have been very, very vocal. I don't think it's crazy to assume that Bryce Underwood could potentially play at an all-conference kind of level for you. Now, all-conference could mean anything from, honorable mention to, I guess you could talk me into him being a guy that competes for a first-team All-Big Ten kind of situation. But the reason why this is a conversation is because he has all the things that you, quite frankly, just can't teach or coach. The dude that's 6'4", 220 plus and runs in a 4.6, 4.5, whatever he runs now at Michigan, that kind of athleticism and size, and then the rocket for an arm, you can't teach any of those things. And so what you saw at Michigan last year was a severe lack of those things, not knocking the quarterback room. We saw the games last year. And so you pair that with what they did on the field and still were successful in spite of that quarterback room. And then you pair the tools and you get pretty excited. So I'm not here to rain on Michigan fans' parade. If anything, I'm trying to contextualize where we are right now around Michigan at the quarterback position. Because that's the thing, man. The reason why there's so much excitement around Bryce Underwood is what I just pointed to. There's the perfect storm of what Michigan was last year. You beat Ohio State. You beat Alabama in both games, throwing for less than 100 yards. Not less than 250, not less than 100 yards. You check the box score after the game, double digits, all right? And that was still good enough for you to beat two teams that have what I would call college football playoff caliber rosters. Now, Ohio State, turns out, had a national title caliber roster. I'm not here to talk about that too in-depthly, but you hear what I'm saying. If we can be that good with no quarterback play necessarily, how good could we be with a guy who's got number one player in the country kind of tools coming out of high school? So that's the excitement. That's the hype. That's the Michigan side of it. Then you pair it with just Bryce Underwood's path to Michigan. What I just said, the number one player in all of high school football from the start of the cycle to the end of the cycle. You know how rare that is to go wire to wire? So rare. On3 gave him a 100 overall grade. First ever in the history of the company, 100 overall grade as a prospect. All right, so yeah, he's going to be pretty good eventually at Michigan. And then on top of that, there's the publicity of the fact that the guy flipped from LSU to Michigan a little bit later in the cycle. And Dave Portnoy is, from the outside looking in, tangentially involved. Then Larry Ellison, one of the richest human beings in the world, he's involved. The guy who's behind Oracle. All of that combines to this massive buildup of, well, Bryce Underwood has got to be the dude to save Michigan football. Y'all, I don't think he has to save Michigan football this year. I think long-term he's a direction changer for Michigan football. But this year, Bryce Underwood, and he said this in a Rich Eisen interview, and I love that we get to talk about it right now. He says his parents always told him growing up, just essentially trust your initials. Just be you. Bryce Underwood has to be him this year. And Michigan's going to be okay. But if you're expecting Bryce Underwood to lead you to an undefeated season, win the Heisman Trophy, that's too much on this guy's shoulders, man. Don't put that kind of pressure on the guy. So you're sitting back saying, well, JD, what should we expect then? Last year was last year. It was below our expectations, and we got this supremely talented quarterback that flipped to us, and we got a new era of Michigan football. What should we expect? I would approach this as a fan the same way that you approach your professional team, if you have one, when you draft a quarterback in the first round. He's probably going to be an upgrade from what you had last year. The tools are there. The excitement is there. Just give it a little bit of a margin for it to not be perfect all of the time. Give it some room for some growth. And, hey, Bryce Underwood in that first road start at Oklahoma, he may not go 25 for 25, and that's okay. Because if he's good enough on the ground throughout the course of this season and they put enough around him on the perimeter and some guys emerge, whether it be Peyton O'Leary or whether it be a Fred Moore, like there's different names you can speak to there. But if those guys emerge and level up too, well, then you also create new expectations. So what I'm trying to say here is treat this thing with open hands when you talk about Bryce Underwood. And again, I keep doubling back to this. I'm not trying to sit on the fence here. He could be an all-conference kind of player. But don't put it all on him to where if we don't accomplish what we want to accomplish for Michigan football in 2025, it's this guy's fault. He's overrated. He's not good. He's a teenager. Give us some room to grow. So Heisman Trophy, probably a little bit ambitious. All conference, I could see it. Michigan football being in the conversation for a playoff team here in 2025, could also see it. Yes, because of Bryce Underwood to the extent of he's an upgrade, but also because of everything else you have around him, which we've already talked about throughout the course of this video. So is there too much hype? Sure. But the expectations for him and for Michigan football, those are valid, those are real, and that should be something that you get fired up about if you're a Michigan football fan. So if you're a Michigan fan, again, make sure you are subscribed right here to the On3 YouTube channel. Let us know the content you want to see more of on this channel, on this show, The Hard Count. For myself, JD PicKell, for Caden Smith on the ones and the twos, appreciate y'all, love y'all. We'll keep this party rolling. We will see y'all next time.